Hello again. Today, in this video, we are going to be going over just some of the tools inside the SketchUp that I use. There are other videos that show you how to use the other apps and just kind of familiarizing you with those apps. Feel free to check them out. There's also the video that shows you how to find this specific app that I use. Again, that you don't necessarily have to have the same app I have. It would make things a little bit easier on your end, but really most sketch apps are kind of similar. I just really like this app in particular because I feel it's very intuitive. But let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so I've got my menu already open, and here we are in there. So we're just gonna add in, we hit the button right there, and you can hit the paintbrush. You have lots of options. You can pick these. I normally just pick the portrait because that's the size of the phone. All right, so I'm right now using my fingers with 2 fingers, and I can use it to zoom in and out. It's kind of like pinching and opening up, and it allows you to move that screen over however you want. All right, so we're just going to familiarize you with the buttons so that when we go to do the drawings, you understand. All right, so in the top left-hand corner, there is that button right there. This is where all the tools are located. Different tools, different things to use. All right, big ones are the marker, the highlighter, pencil, this pen. We don't get into these 2 apps, but they're great to use. The blender and the smudge tool, and then of course erasers. There's 2 different types of erasers. Those are very cool. If we go to the marker, you can see that the size you can adjust. All of them adjust a little bit differently. The pencil doesn't get as big. The highlighter gets bigger. Eraser gets really big, but you can see that you can really play around with that size, okay? Now, opacity is something that we talk about in the apps, but I'm going to talk about now. You can see that it's just like the intensity of the mark, of the color. Okay, so if I just drop that opacity, it just becomes more and more transparent until it is nothing. So that's how the opacity works. Then there's this menu down there at the very bottom for different colors. So all I have to do is pick one of those. If I want to really get specific with that color, I can touch this wheel right there. And then I have that whole spectrum slider right there, and I have this menu from going to gray, white, all the way to black, and everything in between for a specific color. So lots of options, okay? Now if I go back to those dots, it's really easy to navigate through there. This is a rainbow option, so if you click that, make sure you unclick it. The eyedropper tool is just that if you need a specific color that's in the screen, you click that and then it will highlight it. Let's just demo that real quick. So if I have my marker and I draw there, and then let's say that I go into the menu and get this nice gray, reddish color, and then I go in and I draw some black, right? Now, if I was like, oh, I need that gray again, I can grab that eyedropper tool and I can go and grab it right away, and I've got it, okay? All right, and since we've got those drawn, a tool to talk about is at the bottom of the screen, there's a check mark. That's for when you are done, okay? And then to the right of that is the 4 cardinal direction. We will talk about that. But then there is the backwards arrow. That is an undo button, a very handy tool to use. And then if you use the undo button, you can use the forward or the remark button, I would call it, okay? Since we're already on the bottom, we'll talk about the next button after that. Is that stack of what looks like papers is the layer button. This is a very handy tool and we use it a lot. You hit the plus and you can create more layers. You hit the trash can and you can delete those layers as long as they're selected, okay? Now if I add a layer, I can hit this setting button. That's the little gear right there at the top, and there are lots of options that go with that, okay? There's the delete, there's duplicate, there's merge down, clear layer, lock, transparent, all of those, okay? So let's just go back and draw something there, and so we can demonstrate. So if I go there and I hit this button, I can then duplicate it and go in there. It brings you into a menu, and I can use my fingers and stretch that out or shrink it down. And I can turn it up at the top. There's these 2 arrows that point to a dotted line in the middle with an arrow over them. That shows you how to reflect them. Then you can crop it if you want. We don't get into anything that crazy, but you have lots of options. Or if you decide I don't want that, you can just delete it. Okay. So again, settings, you can duplicate it, Edit also gets you to that menu, and then you can just edit that one particular thing. Okay. So those are a lot of the options. There's also up on the top, there's this white box. This white box is the background. Okay. So if I wanted a yellow background or a tan or a green or a black or a light tan or pink or red or darker red, or if I wanted squares or squares inverted with white lines or dots or white lines, there's just so many options. Or you could even add pictures. Okay. So going with the undo button, I can go through all of those back to the start. There's also text. We don't ever really use that, but you're welcome to do so. The only other one is the camera plus at the very top. You click on that, you can take a photo or you can add pictures. This brings into a menu, and then you can then add pictures, okay? So, or the three dots then take you to quite a few different tools. There's a ruler tool, and this ruler is infinite and it never runs out, and I can keep moving it. I move it with my fingers. It's pretty easy. You can move it with the stylus if you have one. Okay, and all you have to do is go back to there and click it there. One that we do use is the ellipsis tool, and you just have that kind of circle, and you just kind of have to figure out how you want to move it best. The 2-arrow one keeps it locked. 1-arrow one squishes it. The ellipsis, if I brought that back, allows you to just draw on that specific spot, having a really nice circle. Okay. Symmetry tool is a very cool tool, and lots of things that you can do in it. I'm not going to go too crazy, and we don't have anything that we do it with in the drawing paintings, but it really allows you to make some very cool symmetry mandala kind of work. So check that out. Very cool. Okay. And we don't really use the others, but clear canvas is a good one, and there's always record. Okay. So that's how to use it. I hope this helps. You let me know if you need anything else. We can check out the other content for looking at the other apps that are demoed, and you can really see how things are being used. I encourage you to try using the app before you go into the projects for each day of the camp, and really familiarize yourself so that you can really hit the ground running. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.